Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. It's episode 1 of the new season, I guess. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the new season.
Thank you very much.
Do you feel warmly bathed in its light?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Me
Nice,
too.
isn't it? Summer, the sun's, sort of trying to do something.
Yeah.
Back in St James's Park.
Yeah.
We've had a Saturday. We've had an evening game.
Yeah.
Those summer evening games. Those summer nights.
Yes.
As the song goes.
Yeah.
It could have been written about a Tuesday night at Exeter City.
I think it was.
It could have been.
Yeah. You could hear the Big Bang singing that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That high note.
Walla.
Yeah. We were missing a trick.
It'd be better than some of the songs they do sing.
That is true. What else was new? Lots of new players. A few less old players.
Yeah, lots of new personnel, new pasties. Although I believe you haven't actually had one yet, neither have I.
No. New e-tickets.
Yeah, you can now just turn up with your phone and just show that to the man. I will suggest this, if anyone's listening from the Estates Department at Exeter City, stick a little sign above which turnstile is e-tickets and which one's cash, because it's just annoying. Like, I was in the wrong queue like 3 different times. And there's a man going like, no, that one. Mate, they're right next to each other. How long would it take them to print out a couple little bits
I
of
think
paper?
they had. Didn't they do that last night? I think they were there last night.
No, this was last night.
Oh.
Cash, tickets. Do you know what I mean? It's easy.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Yeah, that wasn't there. And also still cash on the kiosk.
Yeah. But, people need cash. Cash is good. So keep taking along your cash.
Probably be a few warnings, because most people don't have cash anymore, do they?
Yeah, but, how much is a cup of tea? £2. Is that
Yeah.
the same price? I don't think that. I think that's the same, isn't it?
I think it's the same price.
£2 good for a cup of tea is a bit much, but whatever.
Whatever. It's in a jazzy city cup.
Yeah.
Anyway, that happened, and 2 games of football also happened. And there weren't many goals in them, but...
Well, none. 0.
There were 0 goals, which is, not many, and 0, they are in the same category.
Yeah, I suppose that's right. Yeah.
So
Bradford
at home
season,
in the league.
0-0.
0-0. Derek Adams was there being an absolute goon, of course.
As is his wont.
Yeah, as is his niche.
Yeah. We've had 2 absolute goon opposition managers so far, haven't we?
We have. Yeah.
Adams and Ainsworth. Different types.
If you were to draw a pie chart of managers that have been goons this season, a Goonsbury pie, if you will, it would be fully on the 100% goon.
Goon diagram.
Yeah, good.
Matt Taylor might be a lot of things, but he's not a goon.
No, he's not a goon. He's he's other things. Anyway, Bradford 0-0. Bradford promotion favourites.
Yeah, but they have been. I think everyone says that. That's because of Derek Adams going in, I suppose, isn't it? And him being
a big club, innit?
Yeah, but when did they come down? 3 seasons ago.
Something like that.
They've been hopeless every year. So but yeah, with him, he got Morecambe promoted last season, didn't he? But I don't know.
He's the worst. I don't know if you saw this, listeners, but Sweeney was taking a throw-in just by the manager's box. The drawing on the line, on the floor. And instead of Adams going like,
the
no,
technical area.
Thank you. Instead of Adams going like, no, it wasn't there, it was back there, to either the player or the ref, which both would have been legitimate forms of communication, he just stood on the line, but not properly. Not like, I'm standing on the line so you can't go further.
Just a bit in the way.
Just put his foot out a bit.
I'm very much team Kevin Ellison in this.
Yeah. If you're once Argyle, you're always Argyle. That would suggest to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that happened. Since we last spoke, before that game, there hadn't been any incomings, but Joel Randall's been sold.
Yeah, that was a long time coming, that one, wasn't it, to Peterborough. I think the first time that was rumoured was sometime last season. Yeah. Possibly January last season, that connection to Peterborough first came up, and he's finally gone. And all we know it's 7 figures. Yeah. So, and that's pretty good for a League Two team selling one of your own players.
Who's only had a season of
He's only had half a season, football. Really, because he was injured for a fair old bit of it last season, wasn't he? So, it's sad, isn't it? Because we didn't get a chance to see him very much. And I think if we had, if we'd been in St James's Park all last season, just watching, I think people would be kind of like more accepting of it, of Randall going, because that's what we do, And he had, this is the last year of his contract. He had to go for that now, or he would have gone for nothing or a lot less. And I think that's good business, really. As much of it, it's a shame we won't get to see him again, because he's
£1 million is a lot, isn't it?
Exciting player, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he kind of came on for Peterborough in their first league match, and by the sounds of it, from people saying, he's like kind of the only good thing about the whole thing from their point of view. So another young talent gone. Yeah. But that's what we do, isn't it?
Also, apparently, there's a clause, for a sell-on clause in the future, and of course, you could see him going on. Peterborough they're kind of one notch below Brentford, aren't they? And in fact, they often feed each other. And I wonder if we're one notch below that, maybe.
Yeah.
So Ivan Toney was at Peterborough, went to Brentford for a lot of money, will probably go somewhere else for a lot of money in the next few years. So if Randall can do a Watkins and bring us in a bit more cash.
Yeah, I don't know about him. It's hard to say, in it, based on one season. Obviously, exciting player, got a lot of tricks and scored a lot of goals, and he and
quick
and stuff. But I'd say, I don't know. I'd say it could go either way. I think definitely he's a championship level player. Whether he can go on to be better than that, who knows?
I don't know if we ever
called. It's possible.
Did we call Watkins to go on?
Yeah. I think we were more. I'd say. I think we'd seen about the same amount of them, haven't we? Really. I think we've kind of rated Watkins a bit higher, perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe not.
And I mean, like you said, it's literally only been half a season.
So there's that. There's also rumours about Josh Key still to be that he might still go. Sunderland's still sniffing around.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet. And obviously he is on. I think he's got 2 years left.
Yeah.
So we're in a bit of a better position there. And I think probably a lot of people have been talking about whether we should be keeping the youngsters and stuff. And like, what's the point of this if all we ever do is just do this conveyor belt and we churn them out and we buy in, older kind of League Two journeymen in their place. Is that what we want to do or not? And but I think this way round, if we were to keep Key, unless we got a really good bid for him, and let Randall go, given the length of the contracts and stuff, I think that's probably about. I'm all right with that. I think probably about as like I said, as sad as it is to go.
Yeah, because actually Collins is with us and not going anywhere anytime soon, and Jay's with us and not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's not just like anyone who's any good that's come from the academy goes instantly, is it? No,
that's true. And you're also forgetting about people maybe forgetting about League One, because as much as you think they're going to come and get these starlets, Cresceni to Villa, and who are the others? All the others that have gone on.
Yeah, Story and that.
Yeah, and Stansfield and stuff. But there's also League One clubs that probably would be thinking like, I haven't got that much more money, but and they're not coming in for those kind of Collins and Jay, who maybe aren't going to quite yet attract Championship clubs. But there must have been interest from some people, Jim, and it's a good thing that we have managed to keep hold of those ones.
Yeah.
So
Well, see you later, Joel Randall, and thanks for your good work. And it really was good work. I remember him very fondly.
Oh yeah, me too. Keep an eye on him.
Yep. So that happened before the game, and then Bradford. What do you make of it, Dan? It was. I mean, I think it's fair to say the first 10 minutes were all over the place.
Yeah. It was kind of an enjoyable game, wasn't it? I mean, we didn't have a huge amount of chances.
The first half an hour was pretty dire.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because I was glad to be back there that I kind of enjoyed myself. Maybe if that was halfway through the season, we'd have been a bit, I don't know, less pleased with it. But I think, they're a good team. 0-0 at home and conceding. I think the defence looks strong. They
did. The first 10 minutes, I thought they were all crumbs.
Yeah. And
then actually Ray, Sweeney, Hartridge was missing, wasn't he? So it was Jonathan Grounds.
Yeah.
Looked very solid.
I thought going forward, there's work to be done, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think the kind of we were putting trying to get to the wing backs on the ball. Josh Key and Jack Sparks.
Yeah.
And their crossing wasn't quite up to it on Saturday. And you're aiming for Nombe, and I did sort of feel a bit sorry for him a bit because he just looked to be trying to run in behind. He's making like these great runs, which we were kind of, we had a striker like that. It's kind of what you wanted Ben Seymour to be last season. Do you know what I mean? In a way, and no one was picking him out. Do you know what I mean? For that to play like that, you've got to play. You got to play those balls quickly, haven't you? Like spot the man, spot Nombe about to run and play that ball in behind for him, but we weren't doing that. And then later on, we did get a few of those to him, and it kind of resulted in, half chances or something like that. But I did think the crossing wasn't quite where you want it to be, maybe.
No, indeed. And the system, I think I'm happy with the system. I don't think the right players are in the right spaces yet. So we had Dieng and Atangana.
Yeah,
At the base of the midfield.
We're already a bit screwed for injuries, aren't we?
Yeah, so Collins is out already, 8 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that he's, look at last season, but every game, I think, didn't he? He's like such an important part of that thing. We don't really have a direct replacement for him currently. I mean, we'll come on to, Harry Kite, who I suppose, considering what we got, is the closest to a Collins type of player. But yeah, I thought Dieng and Nige both played really well. Nige especially, do you mean? I mean, he looked back to his best, I'd say. The best that we've seen of him.
Yeah. We never would have expected that at the end of last season, Pierce Sweeney and Atangana would be our 2 best players in the first game of the season, would we?
No, maybe not. Although I think Sweeney finished the season last year really strongly.
That's true, he did.
But yeah,
but I guess
Nige didn't.
Oh, no.
And Dieng as well looks really good on the ball. He's he's obviously a lot more mobile than Atangana, and probably when Collins is back, we'll just see one or the other of Dieng or Atangana.
So. Yeah.
But that's promising, wasn't it? That's a good signing, I think. Dieng.
I agree.
Pleased with that.
Yeah. And then we had the up front, didn't we, of Jay, Nombe, Brown. And
yeah, I can't really work out what's going on with the formation there. I think it's kind of like 2 behind Nombe, is it, sort of thing? Or is it a bit
Well, I think that's
fluid?
what they did on Saturday.
They're not particularly wide, are they, Brown or Jay? It's more the kind of wing-backs and then supporting. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. But I suppose within that system, there's quite a lot of room for movement,
Yeah.
But I do think perhaps that when you've got that kind of like 2 defensive players, or I think pivots they like to call them these days, and then you've got 2 almost behind or wide man / supporting strikers.
Yeah.
In Brown and Jay, I think Nombe looked a little bit isolated at times, and so you maybe think, could one of them, if you shifted things slightly and played one of them like Matt Jay kind of played off Bowman last year in a bit more of a central kind of role, and like he had such a good season, it seems a little bit strange to change it.
Yeah.
But then Brown's looked really good.
Brown
in fact, a lot better than Matt Jay in those first 2 games. So
Yeah, Brown looks excellent, and I think if we can get Brown and Nombe and Jay working together, because we all know, you can tell that obviously we know Jay and the other 2 are really good players. If we can get it right, that should bring a lot of goals.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
should do.
Yeah.
And then you're right, Harry Kite came on and looks really...
Yeah, did he come on in that Bradford game as well, did he?
He did, yeah.
Missed all these subs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the main chance. There's 2... Well, I suppose we had one chance each, didn't we? Us and Bradford, good ones.
Yes.
Which was first? I think it was theirs one.
Are you talking about the Dawson save?
Yeah.
So that was first half.
Right.
And...
of course, in front of the big bank, wasn't it?
So this is Cameron Dawson, our new goalkeeper for a year at least.
Yeah.
2 excellent saves from him, weren't they?
Oh, wasn't it?
Next to each other.
Yeah.
And the first one looked remarkable, and the second one even more so. Got himself up the ground and...
Yeah. I think so far so good for him. Obviously, we have not enough time to judge anything yet.
His kicking was good on Saturday.
On Saturday, it was very good. Yeah, it actually looked like he was capable of kicking it to a person.
Remarkable. And then our chance, second half.
Oh.
We'd had all the pressure, hadn't we? We'd had half an hour of pressure that second half.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know Bradford were kind of playing on the counter, but
yeah,
we had all the
on
pressure.
the whole, I think given everything and the chances, a draw's a good result. But
Yeah.
we definitely, for the second half, were the better side. And you'll never get a better chance than that for Nige.
If you missed it, listeners, ball came across the box. One of the first good crosses, really, on about the 89th minute, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Atangana, open goal.
Anything on it. And he just misses the ball. Just takes his eye off it, maybe. I don't know. It comes quite close to him, but it's kind of no way to excuse it. It looked bad from the big bank.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the replay, which is almost from like the opposite angle, it looks bad from there, even worse. So I mean, it was such a shame because it really would have capped off like probably
really.
you'd be saying it's his best performance.
Oh, I think
if
so,
he'd scored
yeah.
the winner, you'd
Yeah.
probably say that's as good as we've seen him. But it wasn't to be, and I think I wasn't too disappointed. I was disappointed in that chance, but like in the result, I wasn't
think
too
0-0's
disappointed.
first game of the season.
Yeah.
You know, a significant opponent. If not, we're not yet sure where they'll go.
A lot of changes and a lot of like injuries too.
Yes.
I mean, like Grounds wasn't supposed to play,
Yeah.
and I don't mean because he's this season's Rory McArdle. Like we have to remember all those jokes we were making about the beige trainers and whatever else. All the I'm applying to him, but I don't think he hadn't really done a pre-season, not a full one either. Neither had Dieng.
No.
And they both had to come in and start.
Yeah.
And they did well.
Yeah, I'm not saying Jonathan Grounds is old, but he takes photos around town with an iPad. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. So 0-0 out of that kind of scenario is good.
Yeah.
Anyway, fast forward to...
He's got one of those hats that's like almost like a trilby, but it's like a cross between a trilby and like a fishing hat that like, those things.
Do you know those things?
Like Inspector Frost would wear, maybe.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's old, but he buys his coat from a garden centre. Anyway, we'll talk more about this in a minute. Tuesday night, under the lights, Carabao Cup. Still Carabao. Still don't know what it is.
Carabao, well, it's an energy drink.
Oh,
isn't
that's
it?
right. It's a rank energy drink.
Have you tried it?
No.
I haven't, and I don't know any. I mean, I don't drink energy drinks, but I don't ever. I don't ever see like youngsters around drinking it. You quite often see them with like a Monster.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I think the good people at Monster can rest easy in their beds.
Yeah.
The threat of Carabao hasn't yet struck them.
Carabao's Thai, isn't it? I think.
Is it?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's Singapore. I don't know. Anyway, so the Carabao Cup, we're out of that. We're out now.
First round, Wycombe Wanderers. Thing number one, Gareth Ainsworth's awful, isn't he, still?
Of course he is. He's never going to suddenly change and not be.
Still got that long hair.
Still rocking the cowboy boots. Still got about 5 buttons of his shirt undone.
And not like your uncle's forgotten to do them up. Like, deliberately, he's taken them off.
Yeah.
He's removed them from his shirt.
I literally stood there looking at him, and I was just picturing what Paul Tisdale's face would be if he was if it was still him next to him in the dugout. And they must have been, opposition managers in recent times.
Yeah.
And I can just see his face. I think he would just be like irked by it. The whole thing just being like, oh.
Tisdale would have been like, literally, why have I bothered? I could have turned up in my nightgown. By the way, Tisdale definitely wears a nightgown. And I would look better than this clot.
Yeah.
Anyway, there he was, Ainsworth. Of course, our favourite Wycombe player, David Wheeler, was also out for COVID.
Yeah. He's missing. That's a shame, and it would have been nice to see him.
Would have been nice to see him. But it was a very nothing kind of first half. And then City had all the best of the second half, didn't they? All the possession.
Yeah.
But couldn't do much with it.
Yeah. We did. It almost, they looked like they were just going to try and play on the break, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They seemed there too, which is a strange tactic to play against. I don't think that was their full strength team, even Wheeler aside. But,
No.
but to play, maybe they don't care about the League Cup. I mean, we don't really, do we? So, but they were in the Championship last season.
Yeah.
It really sort of handed us the impetus, didn't they? Which is, in the end, it worked. So, what can you do?
They're as terrible as ever at rolling around on the floor. Many stoppages.
Yeah.
But I know also they ended...
They seem to be doing it in a sort of kind of like strange, they didn't even... there's no advantage to this time wasting,
No, and then some of their players went off injured and did they finish with less? I couldn't quite work it out.
I think they did, because I didn't really realise this until the kind of post-match interviews and stuff. I didn't realise we were like... no wonder we had so much possession.
Yeah.
Did they run out of sub? Well,
they made a fourth sub anyway, which they were allowed to do because of the concussion.
Right. I don't know what happened there. Anyway.
It was very strange.
That's the League Cup done for another year. It's a shame, innit? Because, like you were saying after the match as we were leaving, like, it would be gutting, wouldn't it, when they draw, a good Premier League side or something next. And I always think that when we go out to some kind of like teams we could have beaten, because they're better than us, Wycombe, but we could have beaten them last night.
Should have beaten them.
Yeah.
We had the penalty advantage even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like...
We didn't quite make enough of our possession against them, to be honest. And like, we didn't have a huge amount of chances.
No, Sweeney had a shot. Dieng had a shot. Sparks his crosses never quite made it, even though he had a lot of chances.
No, Seymour started, obviously, because Nombe's out with COVID.
Yeah.
Just
as is Hartridge, apparently.
Yeah. But just before the match, we were treated to an announcement of a new signing.
Yeah.
Who, at half-time, they kind of pulled him out onto the pitch.
I felt sorry for him.
I made him
Did you feel sorry for him?
Yeah, I felt really sorry for him. It was like, David Brent, wasn't it? They said, well, what you got planned? They just said, come out and wave. And it was like, he didn't know what to do, did he?
No, he didn't.
So he just came out. He didn't come out and do any like kick-ups, did he? Like they do in Spain or anything.
No,
he just came out in his skinny jeans and waved.
Yeah, felt bad for him.
Here's a question for you, and I know everyone does, but when you're like 33, which we haven't even said his name yet, this fella is. Should he be wearing like spray-on skinny jeans?
Football's a strange culture, isn't it? The world of footballers.
Yeah, they I suppose they're kind of like teenagers until they retire, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like, ooh. Anyway, whatever. It's up to him. Come on then. How do you say it?
Well, I think it's Podrick.
I think it's Podrick.
Okay.
Anyway, Amond
from Newport.
Who
we played quite a lot
on loan
for a year, with a clause of January return.
Really? But they need him back,
or if we want to get rid of him.
Right.
So he's fallen out with the manager.
Podrick Amond is in. He's Newport's top scorer of the last 4 seasons or something.
Well, you remember
basically a club legend almost. Although the last couple of seasons, I think the goals have, he's not scored quite so many the last couple of years, but he is a kind of lower league goal scorer.
Fallen out with the manager. That's why we got him.
Right.
Now, of course,
well, all of Newport are gutted by the sounds of it, or most of them.
Do you remember when they played Spurs in the? I can't even remember now. Was it the Carabao or was it the FA Cup?
Yeah.
And really,
I remember this. I remember the Newport having a little good run.
They had a really good run, didn't they? And it was him. It all came through him. Crossing, corners. He's a good corner taker.
Yeah, we could do with that.
So it'd be very interesting. Now,
what do you do with Matt J if he's not taking the corners?
I don't know what happens here, because Brown, Nombe, and J are kind of first names on the team sheet at the moment.
Well, I think he's been brought in as essentially a sort of, it's a long season, isn't it? And as backup for Nombe, which would be because he's, that's what I think, because he's kind of a number 9, isn't he? I mean, that kind of player. So that's what I think. Although last night in the interview with Taylor, he seemed like he was quite annoyed at Nombe for having COVID. This is my interpretation. So then sort of said, well, yeah, maybe backup or maybe competition. We'll see. If he keeps going out and getting viruses, then maybe he won't be number first.
That's your words.
These are my words. This is me. Yeah, it's my interpretation. But we do need strength in that position, because before he signed, Amon signed. It's Seymour's the only other option for Nombe, isn't he? Really? And
I was watching Seymour last night.
I was so desperate for him to be good and live up to that number 9 shirt and just be. Imagine if he was just like kind of on the like at kind of Sparks, Randall, Key, Hartridge kind of level of readiness, but he just doesn't look quite there. And I'm not giving up on him yet, Ben Seymour, by the way. But I still don't think he looks quite ready.
I think that shirt's a curse. I think no one's talking about.
It's only a bit of material, though, isn't it?
I agree, but I think no one's talking about. I don't think anyone had any over expectations for Hartridge.
No, obviously, what you mean, is that strikers have got a lot more. It's literally binary with strikers, isn't it?
I do mean that, but I also
it's goal or no goal. Do you mean so?
Yeah.
Whereas Hartridge, like, when there's a clean sheet, he's part of. Yeah, a defensive 4 or 5, so like.
But I mean more than that. I think that when Jay, if you can cast your mind back to when Jay was all promise and no fulfillment, people weren't like, when's he going to score? We've got to let him go. I mean, some people were, but in general, everyone was like, well, just give him time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just think the number 9 is the extra burden.
But the thing is, possibly, but I think that Jay started to produce before he was given when he was given limited opportunities.
Yes.
We were clamouring for him to be given more time because he looked good, you know.
Yeah.
But Law was keeping him out of the side in that system, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Seymour, he had actually quite a few. I know he's given very limited time. Bowman was like pretty much undroppable last season.
Yeah.
It has been quite a while now, and I'm just worried that it's not gonna. I'm starting to worry now. Obviously, a lot of people have written him off completely on the internet, but they're, you know, whatever. I'm just starting to worry about him, that maybe it won't be. And now we've brought in Podge.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's his chances limited again, isn't it? I will say this: you're not helping yourself, Ben, by wearing that hairband.
Agreed.
Obviously, everyone is very enamoured with Jack Grealish after the Euros, and he wears a little hairband because he's got long hair.
Yeah.
That if he doesn't wear, you know, as a man who's had hair of a certain length,
yeah,
when you play football, it does get in your eyes, you know, and it's a bit annoying. So I understand the need for, if you want to have long hair and play football, the need for a hairband. However, Ben Seymour's got very short, sort of curly-ish hair. It's not doing anything.
No.
And so it just looks weird.
Just looks weird.
Get rid of it, Ben. Get rid of it. You don't need something like that when you're a striker who can't put the ball in the net, because it's just like a lightning rod for people's attention. Do you know what I mean? Just get rid of it.
Indeed. So, yeah. So that was the game. 0-0 it finished. Throughout the second half, the Big Bank and David Stockdale, goalkeeper for Wycombe Wanderers, were making friends. And I mean that genuinely. Stockdale was getting some grief for being a bit chunky.
It was a love affair for all ages.
It was. And he joined in with the, and forgive the word, banter, or bants, if you will, Dan.
Yeah, I won't, but I will accept banter in that situation.
Sure. Anyway, they had it going on and giving Stockdale a bit of grief, and then they even were singing of their love for him.
Yeah, it was. It was
quite nice.
Yeah, it was kind of the main thing that happened, wasn't it?
It was.
In the match.
Anyway, went to penalties.
Yeah.
Carabao goes straight to penalties, no extra time, and
it's a kindness that really, isn't it? When
no one wanted extra time there. I think we could have had another hour and we wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
And the penalties kind of rolled over, and Dawson again looked good on penalties.
Yeah, he saved a couple, didn't he? None of the penalties were particularly good quality, the ones that missed, but you know.
And then Wycombe needed. It was on sudden death, and Stockdale steps up to take the penalty.
Yeah.
Blasts it into absolute infinity, like into the net, like such a screamer, amazing. And then he picks the ball up out of the net, throws it over his head,
Yeah.
gets in the goal, and then saves our last penalty to win the game.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it's a good way to win the match, especially given the kind of the kind of like what had been happening from the Big Bank. You know, it was great. I mean, for him, it was like
he must have felt like king of the universe.
Yeah, it was almost a bit like the way he's kind of reacting to the crowd. It almost kind of undermined the tie a bit, though, didn't it? I mean, it seemed like a friendly. Anyway.
Yeah, but he's quite old, right, and played a lot of games.
Yeah, we all
seen it all before.
It was fine, wasn't it? And so they won.
They won, and we didn't.
I would say that. I mean, I can't remember who missed the penalties now, but the last one was missed by James Dodd, who came on.
Yeah,
I think he came on for Matt J.
I think so.
Didn't he? I think he looked really good, and obviously he's been someone who's been knocking around for a while now. I saw someone that he actually made his debut back in 2018.
Oh, really?
For the first team, yeah. Obviously he's had some quite bad injuries, hasn't he?
I believe so.
And it really kind of in the pre-season, he's really started getting, you know, it was like very much, this guy's back and he's like playing more,
and he's good enough.
Yeah, I think he probably is good enough to have. I think he maybe is this season's kind of like guy to break through. You know, I just thought his movement looked really good.
Yeah,
and like he's on there with Seymour, and he's making better runs than him. Do you mean? Yeah. And I know Seymour's playing further forward and stuff, but I just thought like he just looks like that kind of creative kind of midfielder that perhaps someone like Collins or Kite, they're not quite that, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're very neat and tidy and do a real good job, but I think Dodd looked like, and considering we've got Nombe in there now and some other players that you could combine with really well, I thought it's a good sign, and I got a good feeling about him.
No, agreed. I think maybe him and Kite might be the two that really kind of make a name for themselves, aren't they, this year? Depending on injuries and depending on chances they get and that. But
I would like to see. Definitely like to see both of them, especially Dodd, given like a bit more time actually, if possible.
So, who are we missing? Who do we need to bring in? We've got 2 weeks of the transfer window left.
Yeah, I don't know anyone.
I mean, do you think Taylor's thinking that Dodd, Kite, Jay, Brown, Collins, Dieng, Atangana, do you think he thinks that's enough in the centre midfield?
Maybe, but I think that would probably be okay. But maybe do we need one more?
Well,
Given the injuries. Given the fact that Nigel's kind of got injury problems.
Yeah.
Dieng already, I think, at the end of the last one, possibly took a bit of a knock. Collins is out for a month or so.
I think 2 months they're saying about Collins.
Is it? And then and then who else? And then you miss one more of them goes, and then we are drastically short.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. Maybe someone else in, perhaps a loan.
Yeah.
And then maybe a kind of like wing back. Someone.
Yeah.
Like someone.
It's Coley, isn't it?
That left wing, of course.
We're not really sure, are we, where
who knows?
how far up he plays.
Who knows about this guy Coley? Is he another one of these ones we'll never see play? Is he another croc job?
I don't think so. I don't think that's the suggestion. He played a lot last year, didn't he, Maidenhead?
Yeah.
I tell you who was at the game last night but didn't play, didn't sadly get a parade around the pitch, was Sam Stubbs.
Yeah,
he does exist.
So you say, yeah.
Well, his Instagram story was a video of Stockdale's penalty.
Right, okay. Well, at least he's, alive.
And in Exeter, because for a while he wasn't even in Exeter.
Right, okay. Oh, that's good. Well, at least he's here. Well, it keeps coming... Oh.
It's this fluid on the knee, apparently.
Yeah, it sounds mad, doesn't it? And I know
that's
that,
8 months. I'm not this kind of person, but that's 8 months of a 2-year contract.
Yep.
That he hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
It's not like...
Like, knees are weird, aren't they? And joints and stuff.
I
And
know.
we've seen it before with other players we've had when we brought them in who are kind of like... for every Lee Holmes, there's a Jonathan Fort, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I still wonder if we need another striker, someone up front, because I think Brown and Jay clearly aren't top of the pitch players. I think Ammon can obviously do that, and Nombe, but like you said, Seymour is.
Well, maybe we could do one.
Yeah.
But I think we probably won't unless Seymour goes out on loan or something. Which maybe would be the thing for him,
You wonder, don't you? Because if Seymour had some stonking game last night, started the game, League Cup against...
Well, that's what we were kind of really hoping for straight away, wasn't it,
If he goes and scores 2 in that game and looks a different player, you think, it was the system with Bowman that didn't work.
Yeah, and a couple of goals in front of the big bank, because last season there was no one there. So even when he did get that one goal, when Bowman was out, there's no one to celebrate it with, or but that would give him so much confidence, wouldn't it, to score in front of the big bank there? And then who knows from there? Sometimes it does only take that.
And that was exactly the pattern with Joel Randall, wasn't it? He played 2 or 3 games at the start. I think did he score straight away and then had a bit of a gap? And then you were saying
no. It's the season before.
Oh, that's right.
At the end of the season before last. We were starting to see him coming into these kind of like Papa John stuff, and when he would come in, he's like looks really good, and he had quite a few games where we 1-on-1, and he'd missed them. Yeah, and then we were like, if he just starts the season well, and he did, and he always flew from the beginning of the season. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
he obviously trusts Seymour, Well,
he must be fantastic in training because otherwise he wouldn't keep getting these chances, would he?
No.
Think of all the players that we kind of that did leave.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning Jordan Dyer, who started last night.
Yep.
I don't know if that's his first start, but it's certainly he's not had many.
I think he started the first game of last season, Jordan Dyer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Anyway, he looked good. I thought the defence looked excellent. I think George Ray will be a really good player for us.
Yeah,
I think Sweeney's obviously...
He looks like a kind of Aaron Martin with a bit more to him to me.
Yeah,
bit of a safer...
And we've always said, particularly last year... Oh, well, we're just missing someone who's ever got promoted. And if there was someone who knew what it was like to get promoted, that's a really big deal. And then now we've got Ray, who went up with Crew, and you're like, okay, He's calm, he's confident, he's good, he's young.
Did he go up with Tranmere as well?
No, because they came down. They didn't go up last year, did they?
No, they went up the season before.
Yeah, he wasn't there. He was at Crewe when they went up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same season, I suppose. And you think like that's valuable. I think he looks really just calm and collected.
Yeah.
I haven't yet seen any in 2 games. I haven't seen anything about him that makes me feel slightly nervous.
No, yeah, pleased with that. That's one of the signings, definitely. On the whole, I'm pleased with most of the signings. Yeah. I think
if we hadn't had such a clear out, it's just numbers really that are lacking, and the backup for. I think you can pretty clearly say what the first team is. If the J Brown Nombe situation works out, and you've got our injured players back, you think that's good, and we're covered in most places.
Yeah,
but
I think possibly who's the competition for Jack Sparks?
Yeah,
because I do wonder about that. If we're going to play that system, which is pretty reliant on those wing backs, you know, on the right, if we keep Key, you've got Key and Caprice, which is the same as last season. I'm happy with that.
Worked really well last year.
Yeah, as much as they both kind of like, you know, Josh Key's not quite there yet, and Caprice is kind of like not exactly the.
He's not the best.
But he's decent, you know, and like, but with Sparks, you kind of think sometimes Jack Sparks can look incredible, and I'm really hoping this is his year, and it could well be, but. I can't remember. Like you said, there's Coley, but we just don't know about him yet. And you know, is he fit? Or I think maybe that might be another position we could bring somebody in. You know, there's always in those positions. There's always something. We're always getting wing backs on loan.
Yeah.
Or like those kind of I don't know. I think it's strange that we kind of like don't use the loan window in the way we kind of did a few seasons ago. The loan market, the way we did a few seasons ago.
I mean, I suppose that's about that Dawson's it will be a good loan acquisition, won't he?
Yeah, I suppose we've got him, and then we've got
now Hammond.
Yeah, but bringing him on loan is a weird one. 33-year-old strikers from the same division don't really go on loan to. Do you mean
presumably that's because we don't want to pay for him?
No, fine.
And Newport don't want to use him.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not really. I suppose I know that is a loan, but that's not really what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you mean.
You getting a youngster in who kind of like needs some experience, you know, and like
really what we're looking for.
Well, of course, we've got Rowe as well, haven't we?
Yes.
Who we haven't even seen yet.
No.
Well, we kind of have.
He's young, right? He's 16 or 17. Is that right?
Yeah, he's not 16, but maybe 17, 18 or something.
He was playing in Cresceni's team, wasn't he? So he's the same age as him.
All right, yeah. Well, the suggestion is that there will still be a few more bits of business, I think, but maybe not much. We'll see, I suppose.
We'll see. There was a rumour of Mark McNulty, who you might remember, listeners, who took us apart at Wembley for Coventry City. He was excellent for them that season.
I think that was always a bit of a pipe dream, that one, wasn't it?
I think so. And there's rumours, and he hasn't gone anywhere yet, but I think with Hammond coming in, that suggests that's not going to happen.
Yeah. It does seem to be. I guess COVID's playing a part. There's a kind of feeling of that it's been difficult to get people in, isn't it? You know. I think that's partly Taylor's not fault, perhaps, but you know, he obviously has done this famous thing now, which everyone is kind of furious about. How he said he was going to bring in these difference makers, and it's been, you know, as promising as a lot of these signings have been. I'm not sure. Aside from Nombe, that any of them are, you know, huge signings, but not that we ever really get that. I don't really know about this. Maybe
I don't know what he said. I know what he said. I don't know what he expected us to take that to mean, because Nicky Law came in and was this difference maker.
Yeah,
no one really expected that. You know, when he
arrived, but he did come from a League One side.
Yeah,
you know,
but so is Dieng, or kind of, and people aren't like, oh, amazing. I mean, I know he just got relegated, but you know, Manchester City can bring in a difference maker because they'll be like, this person scored 50 goals last season.
Yeah, but I think what I mean is that we want someone who's maybe bringing in someone who's just had a successful season.
Yeah.
Whereas all our signings are all people who have like either got relegated or haven't done very well last year, or towards the end of the contract. You know, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's all these players are kind of like. They've either just been released by rivals, or they're kind of they've coming off a bad season or injuries or something. You know, that's what it is. That's the difference. Whereas you want to be signing someone who's like, oh, they were good, we'll get them.
Yeah,
and that's what we haven't done.
Yeah, no, that's right.
And I think it's what I was saying about the COVID, which we've mentioned before, is I think it's going to be harder to get people to move a long way away, isn't it? I mean, it's always hard anyway.
Yeah.
And I think maybe in the past we had kind of like, you got Steve Perryman who kind of knows more people. Do you know what I mean? He's like schmoozing agents like that's like, for fun. Who's doing that now? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe there is somebody doing it, but that seemed like a more obvious kind of like, oh look, you got this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? And what you don't see at Exeter City that much is youngish retired players who stick around unless they're on the coaching squad, right? So, and I don't know
Youngish retired players.
So, you think about like Moxie. I know he hadn't retired yet, or like Logan, or like
Richard Logan was at the Bradford game.
He was. Why isn't he? Couldn't we use that kind of player in like a club capacity? Do they work as like ambassadors for us? The kind of closest thing we seem to have is like.
I mean, that'd be great. I like him.
Tongue, isn't
I'm not sure what he's. I mean, what's Logie going to do?
Logan's a bad example, perhaps, but are we going out of our way to be like with George Friend? George, there's a club for you. There's a role for you here when you retire. Who has connections? Who's young enough to have been part of? That he knows young lads.
Right, yeah, maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I suppose that's the other option. You do hear about that stuff with other clubs.
Yeah, are we a little bit unconnected? I think
perhaps we're unconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be that. I don't know. Hopefully not. And it seems to have we've had more trouble this year. But you think we got this reputation of being of all the youngsters that we produce.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like people are like obviously we don't know how this thing works at all. But like. You'd think that would be enough for like us to be able to secure a few kind of, in the past we had O'Shea and Kane Wilson and Donovan Wilson and Kyle Edwards and all this. It's like people sort of seem to be going like, oh yeah, this is a place where a team who we can entrust our youngsters with. Why isn't that happening?
I mean, maybe we'll see that because I suppose you had Andreasen, who was that kind of player.
Yeah, and like look at that. But that's a good example, right?
Yeah.
He had a great time.
Yeah.
He played really well. He got a load of experience.
Yeah.
And now this season he's going back out to a League One side on loan. It's like that
worked. Maybe we'll see that. I mean, we've got 2 weeks left. Maybe the loan market. I mean, the loan market can go on longer, of course.
A bit longer, isn't it? Yeah.
And maybe we'll see that once we've kind of got our established.
I think that would make everyone feel a bit better. Just a bit more depth and maybe a kind of couple of things. I know it's a bit basic, but that does sort of perk people up a bit when you go like, oh, we've got someone on loan from, wherever, like even West Brom, who aren't exactly. It's not exactly a glamorous side, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. And a
good boost for the morale, doesn't it? But
there's space in that squad for 5 new players. Like there really is still.
Yeah, because we've seen injuries happen. I think we've been lucky with injuries in the past, the last couple of seasons, and already there's a few kind of look at Collins is out and he played every game last year, so
yeah. Well, there we are. So it's Leyton Orient this Saturday, if it happens. Corona permitting.
Yeah. So Matt Taylor said they basically already informed the EFL that we've got cases and we might not be able to play.
Okay. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. And then the following Saturday is Bristol Rovers. And if I've done my maths right, the players that are currently positive would be back for that if they're not unwell,
right?
Isolation-wise. So I guess it would be potential for one missed Saturday, but maybe more, obviously, if they all catch it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. Thanks, everyone, for getting in touch with your season predictions as well. We had a whole host of answers, which were great.
We've got loads this season. So, I mean, you won't find out anything till the end. That's if you're new to this. We read all them out. Well, we're not going to read them all out, but we'll announce this. It will be on the last, towards the end of the season. And it gives us a bit of time to sort out some sort of prize.
Oh, I thought you were going to say accents. We've got a lot of accents to practice as well.
There's all that, but also, something to, there'll be some sort of, winnable thing.
Lucky devils. You can get in touch with us in all the normal ways, of course. We're on Twitter at Big Bank Pod. We're on Facebook, the Big Bang Theory Podcast, and you can email us, bigbankpod@gmail.com. You can also leave reviews wherever you listen to your podcast.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
If you want to leave us a nice review.
Go on.
A niche. Maybe you could ask us what accent to read the review out in. That would be marvellous.
Yeah, I don't think I want to read out our own reviews live on the podcast, to be honest, but
Well, it'd be good for
something.
people reading the reviews. They could be like, oh, I can imagine this now. It's in the accent of a burly Scottish dockyard worker.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good look reading out your own reviews. Just generally, even if you're doing it in someone else's voice.
I print them out and put them in my window next to my
yeah, let's do that.
cut out cardboard of myself. Yeah.
Also, we have got some stickers made up.
Oh yeah.
Which we had for a while, and I don't really know what to do with them. But I've sort of started leaving a few sort of piles around the ground on home games. Don't worry, I'm not sticking them on anything. I'm not messing up your precious park or anything, you know. Just sort of leaving them around, like just in little piles. I mean, you know, like, so if you see one, help yourself, I suppose.
Help thyself and stick it on your mother.
Stick it on your laptop.
Oh yeah, all right. Good. Thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.